What's up, guys? My name is Rob. You are on Rule of Two Review, and today we're going to break down today's Nintendo Direct. So as I'm sure we all know, earlier this morning, and I mean really early this morning, Nintendo finally blessed the world with its first Nintendo Direct of 2015. It was pretty exciting. Everyone was losing their minds the last 2 days, getting prepared, making theories, predicting this and that. I did the same thing. I made my own video where I discussed with you guys some of the things I thought would and would not happen. It's always a really exciting time, especially because lately Nintendo's been killing it with these Nintendo Directs. You know, even going back to their digital event that they had for E3, they've really been on the ball as far as how much information they're giving us, when they're giving it to us, how satisfied we're all feeling with it. Usually it's been a really good time for these things. And of course, being the beginning of the year, we knew that we were going to have to get one pretty soon so that Nintendo could establish pretty early on what it was that they were going to be doing for 2015 in preparing all the gamers for all of the great content they were going to be bringing us. Now, there was a whole lot of things that happened today, and I already tend to make pretty long videos, so I'm going to do my best to just get right to the goods and discuss the things that they talked about today, my feelings and thoughts on it. It was a really great Nintendo Direct. I definitely enjoyed it. I thought most of the information was really fantastic. I didn't think it was a super great Direct overall. There's a couple of things that I didn't think were like the best thing that they probably could have done here and there. But, you know, that aside, overall, it was still a really great Direct that got me excited for a lot of things. And I have a theory as to why it wasn't really the greatest thing in the world. Okay, so here we go. Today's Nintendo Direct for January 14th, 2015. Today was really the 3DS show. And I think that's the thing that first jumped out at my mind as to why I didn't super love it. And I wasn't like totally losing my mind as I woke up early 2 hours before I had to be at work and laid in my bed and watched this thing on my phone, which I like never do. But that's what I did this morning. And I set my alarm thinking, man, I'm going to try to wake up, but I just don't think I'll be able to do it because it was 7 o'clock a.m. my time. And I woke up and then I kind of was like, screw it. And I grabbed my phone and I watched it. So I was hoping to be a little bit more excited overall. And now so I love the 3DS. I think that a lot of the stuff that they showed today was exciting. I was hoping for more Wii U things, but basically I think that what we're looking at is the simple fact that this Direct, as most of us know, it's the thing that everyone is talking about, I think was really mostly being used to showcase the new 3DS. Of course, we know the show ended with the reveal of the launch date, which was February 13th. We all know that, and a whole bunch of other details, which I'm going to get into. And I think because that was their focus, that's why most of this Nintendo Direct was focused on 3DS games. Now, again, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I think most of what they showed for the 3DS was fantastic. It just kind of lends to why I wasn't as excited about this Direct in hindsight as I was really hoping to be. But that being said, let's get to some of the goods. The very first thing that they opened with was the trailer for the brand new Fire Emblem for the 3DS. Now, I, just like many of you, probably thought that we were looking at the trailer for Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem, a game which I have been theorizing is completely dead or turned into something else. And I think that the fact that we got this trailer today totally solidifies that that game is probably going to be gone. I don't think that we're ever going to see it. I still want it to come, and I'd love to be proven wrong. Maybe it will still happen, but honestly, I really just don't think that that game's coming. I think it's entirely possible that it even turned into this game, even though this is a 3DS game, and the Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem game was a Wii U game. So, I mean, that part may or may not be true. Long story short, I just feel like this would have been a great opportunity to even just, like, talk about it again, let alone show gameplay or a trailer. And the fact that they did none of that, but still opened with a brand new Fire Emblem game, I think really shows us that I just don't think that that game's going to be coming. That being said, the new Fire Emblem game, which does not yet have a title, looks really fantastic. I love what they showed. It's been a long time since I've dabbled in Fire Emblem. I did not play Awakening on the 3DS, and I really regret that. And now more than ever, I regret it. So I'm probably going to go back, pick that game up, and finally play it so I can get anticipated for this game, because I thought that this new trailer looked really, really awesome. Now, immediately following Fire Emblem, they got into, and this was all done by Satoru Iwata, by the way, in the very beginning here. They got into a couple other very Japanese-centric kind of puzzle games and RPG kind of games coming to the 3DS that personally just don't look super exciting to me. I'm sure they're going to be really good, and he mentioned how they are very popular in Japan, which I would totally believe. There's a Puzzles and Dragons game, which what's really cool about that is there's both the regular Puzzles and Dragons game, a game very popular in Japan, he mentions, and then there's also a Mario spin on that game. And what's really neat is for America, for North America at least, they're going to be packaging both versions of Puzzles and Dragons together in one 3DS release. And I think that's cool. It's probably being used to help, sell the value of Puzzles and Dragons, because it's not, the North American market isn't familiar with it. It's not normally the kind of game that does gangbuster numbers here. So I feel like if they bolster the value early on and really make this game popular and successful because there's 2 games included, that then people can see, oh, I actually do like this series, and they can start to release more games down the road and not have to package them as 2 games in one. Like I said, not my thing, but it looks fine for what it is. It's like a weird kind of bejeweled thing where you're like combining colored balls to disappear, and then your characters on the top screen do like RPG combat with other characters. It's fine for what it is. There was also a Pokemon puzzle game, and I actually forget the exact name. I don't think it's called Pokemon Puzzle. Maybe it is. And it's a very similar kind of concept. Now, it's a free-to-play game that's downloadable for the 3DS. I'm going to get into that a little bit later, but that's what that game is. Another game that I'm sure is going to be a fine, cute little time distractor, but it's just something that's personally not for me. Now, as soon as that was done, the focus shifted over to Build Trinnen, and as soon as I heard that Build Trinnen was coming on, I immediately thought Amiibos, and I predicted this on my my prediction video yesterday. And what we've really learned is that Build Trinnen is just like the Amiibo poster child. He is the Amiibo boy for Nintendo, and I'm totally okay with that. I love Build Trinnen, and I think the Amiibos are fantastic. He went over all sorts of cool Amiibo news. He talked about waves, I think is it 4 and 5. He discussed some of the new characters coming. Excuse me. Charizard, Wario, which I predicted. I knew Wario was going to be coming pretty soon. Ness is coming. A couple other ones. So, it's pretty cool. No one that really jumped out to me except for Wario. But he did mention that some of those some more of those Smash Brothers Amiibos are coming pretty soon. Another really neat thing that he confirmed, and I thought this was so cool, is that there are more Marth figures on the way. And I think that's neat because it shows that Nintendo really wasn't trying to create this fake demand. I think they really might have been caught off guard by some of the success of these things. And so I think it's great that they addressed it in a Nintendo Direct. And I think it's really cool of them to be releasing more Marth figures, because those things became freaking impossible to find after like one day. Also, something else he confirmed, which is another thing I had been predicting for a while, is that there are other Amiibos coming that aren't just supposed to be Smash Brothers versions of these characters. And I always knew that they were going to do this, and I'm glad they're doing this. I think that this is pretty cool. So there's another set of Mario-related Amiibos that are coming out, and they are also meant to coincide with the release of Mario Party 10. And I think that's pretty cool. Mario Party 10 is probably not a game I'll really play or be interested in, but it's going to be huge, and the Amiibo support is really neat to see. They showed a whole new wave, like, Mario Party 10 related Mario, Luigi, Peach, Bowser, some other ones. The big reveal there was Toad, and I think that's awesome because Toad and Wario were probably the only new Amiibos talked about today that I definitely am going to get. I'm not into collecting every Amiibo just for the sake of it. I really just want the ones that I care about. So Wario and Toad. Toad looks great. The Amiibo functionality for Mario Party 10 is great because you get, character-specific boards to play in that game. And that's awesome. That's really great content to get with the bonus of an Amiibo. So that's pretty cool stuff. The other amazing thing they did, and this is where Nintendo was doing the Amiibo thing perfectly, is they mentioned how any of the same characters that are also the Smash Brothers version will still do the same thing, have the same functionality in Mario Party 10 or any other newly created game that will use an Amiibo. So any game ever created down the line that would use a Mario Amiibo, it doesn't matter which version of the Mario Amiibo or Peach Amiibo or Bowser Amiibo or even like the Zelda related ones in the future. It doesn't matter which one you're using. It's all going to work for every single game that uses that character. And that is brilliant. Otherwise, it would kind of be a dick move for Nintendo to say every single game has its own specific set of Amiibos and you have to buy a Mario specific for every single Mario game for an Amiibo. That would be way too gouging of people's wallets, and Nintendo's way too awesome to do that. So I think that that's pretty amazing. Also, he talked about Kirby and the Rainbow Curse for the Wii U a little bit and how the Amiibos will work with that. And I think it's really cool stuff. If you're using Kirby or Meta Knight or DDD, you get specific functions or like amplified functions of normal functions within the game. So your character becomes more powerful, can use more moves, has a larger life bar, stuff like that, and changing the appearance. And I think that that's another great example of how to do the content of Amiibos right, where it really gives you a great, fun, extra benefit to the gameplay, but is definitely not holding back the game for anyone who doesn't have the Amiibos. It's the perfect balance, so far at least, that they seem to be striking with what content Amiibos are adding to games, so as not to feel cheap or like they're forcing people to buy these things if they maybe don't want them, and it's not holding back the quality of the game. Also, although we didn't get a Captain Toad Amiibo, which I think is a shame, they did confirm that Toad is going to be usable for Captain Toad, which I think this stuff comes out in March, I want to say, the Toad Amiibo, or this next wave here. I could be wrong on that. I forgot to check the date. But anyway, he did confirm that it's going to work with Captain Toad, and it'll create a new minigame where every level has a hidden 8-bit pixelated version of a Toad that you can find for a bonus. So that's cool. That's a really fun thing. You know, Captain Toad's an amazing game, and I think it's cool to see some functionality coming out of a Toad Amiibo. Okay, now we're going to get into the good stuff, and of course this video is going to end up being 20 minutes long, so, well, what are you going to do? Anyway, the good stuff. Bill Trinan also was the man to host my 3/4 favorite things about this Direct. And yes, they were all Wii U related, not because I got anything against the 3DS. Like I said, I'm all about it. Everything they showed today was great, but Wii U stuff was what I was excited for. And he showed some amazing things. So first off, what I want to talk about is the confirmed Majora's Mask DLC for Hyrule Warriors. Holy frickin' hell, yes, I'm so very excited. They showed that Tinkle is going to be a playable character. I did not see that coming, and as completely dumb and ludicrous as that is, I still know it's going to be awesome, and I can't wait to use him just for the total frickin' fun of it. It's going to be really goofy, and it is what it is, man. Tingle is Tingle, and I haven't seen him in a while, so it was kind of nice to see his freaky face again. They also confirmed that the young Link from Majora's Mask is going to be a playable character, and he also comes equipped. He's using his Kokiri sword, and he also has the Fierce Deity mask, so he can temporarily turn into the Fierce Deity Link and just frickin' devastate everything around him. So really cool stuff there. Now, they didn't give us Skull Kid as a playable character, which I think is a huge, gargantuan misstep. That character is primed for Hyrule Warriors. He would be wonderful in that game. They could do so many creative things. I would actually have to think that he's still going to be coming at some point. However, they did show us a couple silhouetted figures of other characters that have suits, costumes related to Majora's Mask. And there was one that was very obviously a Skull Kid costume. So that's really great. And I do have to say, in looking at those silhouettes, I am all but sure that that is a female character who's wearing that Skull Kid costume. And it seems like Zelda would be the only one who would really make sense. I mean, I don't know why it would be Lana or Twilight Midna. I just don't think that it would be those characters. But, I mean, we'll see. Who knows? I still think it's cool that there's going to be a costume regardless. So that stuff's really exciting. Hyrule Warriors is my jam. I love Majora's Mask, and I think it's great to get another pack so I can start playing that game incessantly again once that comes out. Which is in March also, I think. I can't even. I should have double-checked some of my dates, you guys. I'm so sorry. The other great thing... Let's see. What do I want to go to next? Okay, so he talked about... This is really pretty cool. The Wii functionality and downloadable Wii games for the Wii U. So a couple really great things happening here. First and foremost, we finally can purchase and download Wii games, their last generation of games for the Wii U. That's straight up virtual console stuff. That's like, you got Super Nintendo, you got Nintendo, you got Game Boy, and you have Wii? You can download Wii games? That's insane, but it is so freaking cool. And they've done a couple other cool things where normally if you're putting in a Wii disc, you have to go to the Wii menu of the Wii U, and that takes time to load and boot up and all that stuff. But that's not the case here. These are actually going to be playable as icons directly from the Wii U menu. So it's like Wii U software that is playing an emulated version of a Wii game. And they announced 3 amazing titles for North America and an additional one for the UK. But in North America, as of today, Super Mario Galaxy 2 is available. On the 22nd is... Oh, crap. Punch-Out for the Wii. And then the 29th is going to be the Metroid Prime Trilogy, which is a great deal. It should be noted that I think in the UK, instead of Punch-Out, I think they got Donkey Kong Country Returns, if I'm not mistaken. So that's pretty cool. And then, of course, more are going to be coming down the road. They're on sale for half price for the first week, so they normally sell for $20, which is a great deal. They're actually on sale for $10 for the first week after they launch. Really cool stuff going on there. Also, a lot of Wii games are going to be compatible with the gamepad, so you don't have to like use a Wii remote and a classic controller. That is a really cool thing because I play a lot of Wii games on my Wii U, and I like the idea of not having to use the Wii remote. I like the idea of being able to use the gamepad. So really, really cool things there. A lot of people are talking about the fact that we haven't gotten GameCube games available yet on the Wii U or the Virtual Console. And I agree with that, but to me, this is a gigantic first step. It's almost a better first step because these are more recent games. And I think that this is going to be so popular and successful. This beats the crap out of what PlayStation Now is doing, I think. Not to mention that the system is already backwards compatible for free anyway. So I think that this is still pretty wonderful. A lot of Wii games I know a lot of us are going to be picking up. And I also think that this is a slow step, and eventually, maybe even this year, we will finally get confirmation that the GameCube Virtual Console does exist and is coming. They know that there's a huge market there. Trust me, guys, they are going to be making GameCube games available on the Virtual Console. Okay, trying to power through, guys. I don't want this to be another half-hour video. So now, the last two things that they discussed, which were easily my two favorite things, I'm going to go first with Splatoon. What's really great about Splatoon, first and foremost, this is... By the way, I do have to say that like almost none of my predictions actually came true, at least when it comes to games and release dates, which is really too bad. Now, Splatoon gave us a release month, which is awesome, and it's way sooner than I thought, which is even more awesome. But at the same time, that was one of the games that I didn't think we were going to get any sort of date for, so... Basically, I'm a big retard, and I totally messed that up. Anyway, they did talk about Splatoon. Most importantly, we got the release month. That game comes out in May. That is so freaking awesome. That is the first half of the year. Q2, before E3, before the summer. That is so great to know that that game is that close to being done, coming out in May. And they also showed a couple new features. What I really liked is they showed the hub world. That was the main focus. There is an online hub that you go to, interact with other people in Miiverse who are playing the game. And this all happens in-game. You're not on Miiverse. You're playing your character in the game. Customize your character, interact with other people, set up games and matches, do tons of things. What's very interesting is, now a lot of people who follow my channel, or a lot of people who are solely Nintendo fans, won't know this, but this idea is very much like Destiny. Destiny has a hub world that operates almost the exact same way. And what's eerily funny is in both Splatoon and Destiny, this hub is called the Tower. So for any Nintendo fans who might not know that, that's kind of how that whole thing works. So as soon as I saw this, I thought of Destiny. And I do like Destiny, and I actually love the Tower element to that game. So I'm really excited to see the same idea being used in Splatoon. I think it's going to elevate that game to a whole new level of depth and online interaction. The customizable stuff is cool. I've never been really big on that kind of thing. But I think that it's still going to be really cool and popular, and I will still use it. I just won't spend a whole lot of time there. I'm just more interested in how I'm going to interact with everybody else, and also just the simple fact that that game is coming out in May, which is just so freaking awesome. Next up is easily my highlight of the entire Nintendo Direct. It was the Xenoblade Chronicles X trailer. Now, we didn't get an official date. We didn't even really get a launch month or window. They did confirm at the end that it is still set for 2015, so that's fantastic. Watching that trailer, the one thing that disappointed me was that all of the dialogue was still in Japanese with subtitles. So it really totally makes me understand why that game isn't ready to come out yet, because I don't know where they're at in the localization for that game. It makes me worried that they haven't even started it if they have nothing to show and put together for a North American-centric Nintendo Direct. I mean, it just boggles my mind. So who knows when that game is coming out. But they do state at the end of the trailer, 2015. So right on. As long as it comes out this year, then I'm cool. You know, I am so ready for that game. It looks gorgeous. It looks better and better every time we see it. It's stupid how great that game looks. The worlds are gigantic. The creatures are mammoth. The characters look fantastic. The story seems like it's going to be really in-depth. You know, and I just love what's going on with that. And I love that they showed that trailer and talked about it a little bit and at least gave us one final confirmation that, hey, yes, this game is still on the way in 2015. So right on, easily my favorite part of today's show. Okay, so I'm going to skip some of the other things and just get right to the goods, like I said, to avoid making a freaking super long video about this. You know, they did a whole indie reel, which was neat. You know, I don't usually get too excited about indie games, but there was a lot of great stuff being shown. And it's nice to see so much indie support happening for Nintendo. The other thing I do want to bring up is they did talk about, although they didn't show this, they did talk about a game that is going to be coming from Bandai Namco that is exclusive to the Wii U called Project Treasure. I think it's meant to be a downloadable eShop game only, and not quite sure. Now, it is seeming to be another free-to-play kind of experience. So I do think it's interesting, and this is one of the things that I don't love about this, what Nintendo's doing, and what I didn't love about this Nintendo Direct. The game could be great, you know, whatever. The fact that they seem to be stepping into the free-to-play market stuff, I just don't really love that idea. You know, I don't super hate it because you don't have to play anything you don't want, and free is free, I get it. But we're going to start getting into these paywall things, you know, and they tried it with, I think, the Rusty's Real Deal Baseball that we all know of, I think kind of broke the boundary of them finding a way to make extra money in this format. And I think now that there's a 3DS game they talked about and a Wii U game that they talked about today that is coming in the free-to-play format, kind of makes me wonder where they're going to be going in the future. And I mean, as long as it's stuff that doesn't inhibit the series that I love and a Metroid or a Zelda game doesn't come out that way, it's really okay. But I just think that it's interesting that Nintendo is finally breaking into this. It doesn't make me mad, but I also don't love it either. So Nintendo, I just hope you don't start making the wrong decisions with this whole kind of structure. And with that aside, we of course know the big news today is the new Nintendo 3DS, which is why, like I said, I know that this Nintendo Direct was meant to be mostly focused on 3DS software and things like that. It's good that they touched on the Wii U a little bit, but this was mostly all about the 3DS today, just so they can make the 3DS in any shape or form seem that much better, that much more valuable, all these different titles and great things going on here. And don't forget there's even a new 3DS, so buy this motherfucker. And you know what? We're all going to do it. They did confirm the rumor that leaked yesterday, February 13th in North America. Obviously, a 20-minute video is just too long for me to make. I'm losing the ability to function. So February 13th in North America. Super excited. That's really soon. And holy cow, they confirmed a couple crazy other things. There is a Majora's Mask bundle. There is a Monster Hunter 4 bundle. And these are games that I thought were going to be coming out later. I assumed Monster Hunter 4 was going to come out in March. It turns out that Monster Hunter 4 and Majora's Mask are coming out way sooner than we thought. They launched the same day as the new 3DS, and there's a bundle for each with a limited edition 3DS that is tailor-made for each game. That is so badass. I'm actually pre-ordering the Monster Hunter one tonight. I need that thing in my life. And so, of course, they talked about a lot of the functions and features, the camera stick, the, what are they calling it? The head tracking 3D display, all these cool things, the extra power. They discussed with Xenoblade Chronicles. They also discussed the date. That game is coming in April at some time, so that's really cool. They didn't discuss any other games that are exclusive to the new features and powers of the new 3DS. They did talk about a game called, I think it was Iron Fist. It's either Iron Fist or Iron Storm, something like that. I think it's Iron Fist, which is a really cool third-person cover-based action shooter kind of thing, like Gears of War, Mass Effect kind of thing. It looks great, looks gorgeous. It's downloadable only, unfortunately. But it's not exclusive to the new 3DS because you are able to download it on the eShop for any 3DS or 2DS model as well. So the game looks amazing, but it's just too bad that it's not specifically utilizing the power of the new 3DS. And yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm going to wrap everything up. I think it's great to know the new 3DS is coming as soon as it is. I know it's been pre-ordering and selling out already just in the first couple of hours since this information came out. It's going to be a huge hit. It's going to be a big deal. Nintendo knows what they're doing with this kind of marketing and their hardware. They just know how to do this stuff and make it appealing. And I'm going to do it. They're getting another $200 of my money tonight. And a lot of us, a lot of you guys out there are probably doing the same thing. Getting the confirmation about Majora's Mask and Monster Hunter 4, that they're coming early, that there's a bundle for each. It's also coming in just a standard red and a standard black color. Pretty cool. They didn't give any official prices. You can find those online. I think it's $229 for the bundles. But I thought it was weird that Reggie didn't actually talk about that during the show. I don't really know why they did that. But hey, the date's what matters. That's freaking a month away, basically. And also getting the confirmation of Xenoblade Chronicles for the 3DS, the port coming out in April, just a month later. That's pretty amazing. So overall, lots of good stuff. All the 3DS info, all the 3DS games, some of the Wii U related things. While not everything was perfect, and it was a little too 3DS centric, and the free-to-play stuff makes me really nervous, I still think everything else was pretty much a home run. And so in summary, like I said, my predictions were basically total shit. We did get to see the Amiibos, and we did get a date for one major Wii U game. It was not a game I predicted getting the date for, and we didn't get dates for Devil's Third, which we didn't even hear from at all, or Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is really, really too bad. Or Yoshi's Woolly World, not even talked about. The other thing that I did actually predict that was also correct is Star Fox and Zelda were not talked about in any way, shape, or form, and I knew that was going to happen. That was one of the things I was 100% sure about. Some of the other leaked things, there was nothing about Bayonetta 2 talked about today, nothing about Bayonetta for the 3DS talked about today. Shocker, Metal Gear was nowhere to be seen as well, so who would have thought that was going to happen? So yeah, those, it's kind of where the predictions and stuff lie. I thought it was pretty interesting. I do have to say that I'm willing to bet maybe either in March at the end of this quarter or sometime in April for the beginning of the second quarter, we're going to get our second Nintendo Direct for this year, and I think it's going to be way more heavily focused on the Wii U. That'll be right before Splatoon launches. It's time to hear about Yoshi, Star Fox, Zelda, stuff for E3, other new surprises, Devil's Third, who knows what's going on. That's going to be the time. Let's get through the new 3DS launch because that was definitely the purpose of today's show and kind of see what happens, coming for the second quarter, for the rest of the year for the Wii U and all of Nintendo. And that's it. I'm officially spent. My voice is tired. I talked about a lot of crap in 25 minutes. I'm so sorry, guys. Hopefully you still dug everything that I had to talk about. What did you guys think of the show? What made you excited? Did you think it was a great Direct? Did you have problems with any of the things that I also had problems with? There's a lot to discuss and talk about. It's always exciting when these things happen. Thanks to Nintendo for putting these things on and getting us hyped. You get another $200 frickin' from me tonight, just like I said. As soon as I stop recording this, I'm going to pre-order my Monster Hunter Limited Edition new 3DS. Can't wait to do that. What do you guys think? Subscribe to Rule of Two Review. Share your comments and your thoughts below. Thanks for tuning in. I will catch you guys next time on another video for Rule of Two Review.